And welcome to Phuket in Focus for another week as we look at all the issues around the island with the people that actually live here. And this week we have Sue Ultmann. Sue is from Bar Rimpa Group and also from the Phuket Has Been Good to Us Foundation. Thank you very much, Sue.
Thanks, Tim.
And Graham Watkins, and all he can really claim is that he is a local expat and he lives the island every day.
That's about right. Thanks, Tim.
And we're going to be coming back in just a moment talking about traffic because it's something that we have to confront every day. So think about the traffic and we'll be back right after this.
Holiday Inn Resort and Spa Patong invites you to experience the Sea Breeze Cafe. Kids eat for free and prices start at just 599 baht plus per adult from 6:30 until 10 p.m. at the Holiday Inn Patong.
And so this week we're with Sue and with Graham, and we're going to start by talking traffic. I mean, it has just been the high season, or it's still sort of going. How do you cope with the traffic?
Well, I think you have to look at traffic all around the world. It's a nightmare. I've lived here a long time, and of course traffic was great. Now it's terrible. We hate it. We all complain about it every day. It's not going to get better, so you just have to learn to live with it.
All right, well, I think we can still complain about it, though, because it's pretty bad. How do you actually cope with it, though? Do you change, compared to, say, 3 or 4 years ago, do you change the way that you drive or the times you drive?
I judge different directions, trying to avoid different places. Some places you can't avoid. And yeah, I hate it like everybody else, and I complain about it the whole time I'm driving. But I don't think there's any real solution. We're getting underpasses, we're getting all of these different things that should assist, but long term, the traffic's just going to keep getting worse and worse.
Yeah, I suppose we have to face up to that. Graham, how do you get around?
I've been using a scooter or a motorbike for a couple of years, so my plan really is very easy. I just avoid the traffic. I live in Katu. I can get to most places without coming past Central Festival, which is probably the worst area. I try and avoid Geelong whenever I can. So my trick really is just to avoid the places that get caught up. And I think when you're on the road, you have to think Thai and drive the way they drive. And I don't mean super fast or dodging in and out, but just it's more like going with the flow. It's not like in the UK where potentially you have to be a bit more careful. There's a lot more rules there. Here, I try and just go with the flow, and if somebody else is moving, you go with them, and safety in numbers.
Yeah. But what do you think about the underpasses? We've got the underpass halfway through construction at Central. The one at Samkong intersection's been started. There's going to be another one at the end of the bypass road when it gets to Koh Kiao, near Boat Lagoon. What are these underpasses actually going to do? It seems to me that the traffic is going to flow much faster through the current intersections to move the problem just another intersection down the line. How do you see them working?
Well, my question, the thought I have really about these is what's going to happen during the wet season? They're just going to turn them into boating lakes? They're just going to fill it with water.
Well, I suppose they've got pumps and things.
You suppose so, wouldn't you?
What's your thoughts when you saw the proposals for the underpasses? What did you think?
Why not overpass? Overpasses can be built much faster, and you can end up with a wider area underneath, as they do all over Bangkok. And but no, here we have to have underpasses. We're looking at doing another one in Geelong. What a nightmare. I live in Rawai, so I go through Geelong Circle regularly.
Or better known as Geelong Car Park.
Well, yes, better known as Geelong Car Park. And will they be an advantage? Yeah, a little bit, but the traffic is growing and growing. Every day there's more cars being put on the road. Are they going to stop trucks? Are they going to stop motorbikes going under them? What happens when there's accidents under them? And there will be. So, yeah, I don't know. I just think it's a nightmare now, and I don't think it's going to get any better.
Do you got any magic solutions? If you were the Phuket road engineer, what would you do?
I think Phuket's slightly unlucky, and it's very built up at the moment. I was in Khao Lak a couple of weeks ago, and the main road going in from the south is actually being widened, which would make a lot more sense. But obviously in Phuket we don't have that opportunity. I don't know. Stop people having quite so many cars, I suppose.
Right, Sue, I mean, you do just about everything on the island, but I'm going to make you the traffic engineer today. What are you going to do?
I'm going to look at what they do in Bangkok. I'm going to look at what they do overseas before I just start making my own mind up about what we're going to do in Phuket. And I think that's one of the biggest problems, that they don't look outside the box. They don't go and look at what other people have done. They'll get someone in from wherever and they just make up their minds without looking. So that's what I would do. I'd have a look around the world and see what solutions other people have used to when they have the problems like we do, where you have the narrow roads, and yes, some of them can be widened a little bit. I think the government also needs to look at buying more land, especially you look at Geelong Circle. Why haven't they relocated and bought areas on the corner there and made that whole area bigger? It doesn't make sense. So as an engineer, I'd put it to the government that, hey, first of all, we have to purchase things, and in the meantime, as the engineer, I'm looking overseas and within Thailand to see what we can do or copy from them.
Best practice.
But don't they then hit the same problems they have on certain beaches where they've got encroachment? So the businesses, they're encroaching on the beach, and the business is there for such a long time that the government tries to maybe buy back the land or push, and that gets tricky. So I don't see how they can really buy land in Geelong to make the circle bigger when they're having problems on the beaches anyway.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Tim. I think that when you look at places, as you said, the beaches like Surin Beach and Bangtao Beach and all of those beaches where encroachment is, we all know that there's problems there, and will they ever be solved? No. Will those...
well, the local police chief up at Surin, for example, has just thrown his arms in the air, so I can't solve it.
Actually,
yeah. Let's look at the high season. It's a busy time, obviously, through Christmas and New Year. Well, the first of the New Years. We've got another 2 New Years to come, of course. But have you found the New Year? You're just a local expat getting here and there and going to shops. How have you found it?
Well, I've got a lot of friends in the diving industry. I was a dive instructor here for about 1.5 years. And I know at the moment the dive industry is booming. Obviously with Egypt having its problems and the cyclone that hit the Philippines, there's so many people coming here to dive that there's actually not enough dive instructors.
So coming here to dive?
Dive.
Just checking.
I'm not talking about the roads anymore. But there's so many people coming here to dive that there's not enough freelance dive instructors to cope with all the people that are here. So it seems to be the dive industry itself seems to be booming, and for the first few times I've actually been on Patong Beach, and you see rows and rows of people. So it does seem to be very full at the moment.
Yeah. So you're like right in the middle of the tourist part of the industry with restaurants and stuff. Have you found it been busy?
Been very busy, and I think as you put it, we actually have peak season, which is that week between Christmas and through to New Year, and that is huge, and it has been huge again this year. Everyone was a little worried at the beginning of the high season, which is the start of December, because of the problems that were happening in Bangkok and that are still happening. But I think there's so many problems all over the world that, and this year the different governments haven't put out high travel warnings and things. They're all just going, oh yeah, that's okay. So that's been good. We've had, business has been great. As you've seen the last couple of days, the business has dropped down. That happens every year. And we are now in high season, which will gradually over the next couple of months slow down. But it's been a good high season. We've had a mixture of different tourists, and yeah, we're very happy with it.
Where are your guests coming from? Where the clients coming to your restaurant?
All over the world. We have every sort of different nationality. We have a lot of Eastern Europeans coming in. We have Chinese, we have Koreans, we have Italians, a lot of Australians. You name it, French, and there is still a real mix of cultures here. Naturally, we all know that the European market is low, and it will be for the next few years. Europe has a problem, but this is the world. You know, Phuket, I've been here really for 16 years, and you see it.
You came when you were 4 years old, right?
A little over.
Okay.
Thank you. But every few years there's a change in cultures, and at the moment we're seeing that the new change in the last couple of years have been the Eastern Europeans, which of course is the Russians and Ukrainians, and the Chinese market now is huge. We started off with the cheaper Chinese market. Now you're getting the more high-end Chinese market, the people who have got money and spending it, and the Koreans, etc. So yeah, you have this change.
So the question would be, is this a trend that's really showing the future? Are we looking to the crystal ball at the moment, or this going to stay, that we're going to have a big Chinese and Russian flow of tourists?
I think it's going to be as economies come and go, different groups of people are going to be coming to the island and leaving. So you never know. In another 5 years, it might be, I don't know, the North Koreans might get some money, and you might get a lot of North Koreans here.
Exactly.
So those kind of things. So it's all about the world economy, and at the moment the Russians are doing very, very well for themselves. China's booming, so you're getting a lot more of those tourists coming in and less Europeans coming in.
Finally, what is the one thing that you find annoying that you would like to change? Just one thing out of all the things in Phuket. And I have to always say that out of all the 1,000 little annoyances, I find just the overwhelming living here far outweighs all those things. But out of all of those little annoyances, what is the one thing that annoys you?
I guess at the moment it's the traffic, you know. But that's, as I said, a complaint that you can have anywhere in the world. But that's probably my only everyday complaint, because I have to travel a long way every day.
Right, and Graham, for you?
I think it's the same as all. Thailand's not necessarily a developing country, but to me, when you go places and you see rubbish everywhere, it always annoys me. You think if this beach was clean and pristine, you get a lot more people wanting to come, and they stay a lot longer.
Very true.
Yes, more bins in Southeast Asia, more rubbish bins.
100%.
Yeah.
Sue Ultmann, thank you very much, and Graham Watkins, thank you both very much for being with us today.
Pleasure.
Pleasure, Tim.
That's Phuket in Focus for another week. Thanks for joining us here on Phuket News TV.